lot of times bodybuilders, and this is a very big generalization, but a lot of times, you know, in our dealings with a lot of bodybuilders is if you came into the gym and I said, oh man, what have you been sick? You lose some weight, you'd be like demoralized.
Sure.
So sometimes the ego of a bodybuilder can sometimes be a little fragile, and we would just do it messing around just to be dicks. But it can be fragile because you're so focused in on that. Right. That is everything to you, building up size, building up mass, and getting all the details right.
Yeah, for most guys it is, and ideally it shouldn't be, right? It should be attached to the process and attached to, like, if you master the process, your body's going to grow. It has to. Like, you leave it no choice, right? But yeah, I think social media is crushing it for a lot of people, and we all need the PR today. We all need to post our abs today, rather than like, hey man, I have this 10-year plan or this 5-year plan of going to Mr. Olympia contest or building a world-class body part or building a world-class body. It's definitely taken away from a lot of people.
I can feel exactly what you're saying, because like as a filmmaker, you work on the movie. That's the big goal, right?
Yep.
And then but every day I feel like I need to report something to everybody. Like I got to tell
everybody wants to see the movie now.
Yeah, I got to tell everybody something.
Like,
and then
where's the fucking movie, by the way?
Yeah, it's gonna take a while.
There's a new one coming out May 29th.
Where's the link? Can I swipe up?
Yeah, but so that's a thing. Like you said, the instant gratification is it's very important for people to get it now. Like I need it now.
Yeah, and I really think that the greatest bodybuilders are the ones that don't need that. They have this internal focus, this internal locus of control, and they just go inside their own little world. Like talk about Dorian back in the day, right? He didn't need anybody else to tell him how great he was.
Yeah.
He's like, fuck you, I'm going to show you. When I step on stage at Olympia, you'll know. But I don't need you to tell me every day. And that's such an important thing. And most people are so insecure in themselves, they need that external gratification.
Yeah.
So a truly great athlete doesn't seek that, or they don't need it. And I mean, I think Instagram develops that culture of I need this, because once you get it, you want it more, right?
Yeah.
Like, I need it more. I need it more.
Here comes a question I have to ask.
Yep.
So in Bigger, Stronger, Faster, I had a huge moral dilemma with using anabolics, you know, jumping over to what they call the dark side or whatever, you know. And I did it, of course. And then like, just wondering, as a professional bodybuilder, do you face that, or is it just part of the sport? Do you just accept it, or?
So man, you know, my perspective now is different than when I was a kid. Obviously, as a kid growing up in Canada, I knew nothing about it. I knew it was part of the sport. I knew nothing about it. And I was very lucky to have some very good advisors very young that didn't fuck me up, because I think that's a huge part for young kids is they get these idiots telling them what to do, or they learn from Get Big, and this is what Kai Green's stack is, and you're like, no, it's not, man. It's just some idiot on there telling you what he thinks it is.
And it's that gigantic list of drugs too,
right?
Right?
It's ridiculous, right? And they're going to kill themselves. And then they're like, this is what I need to do to be because of Mr. Olympia. And like, no, you don't. You need to do the smallest incremental dose so you keep moving forward. So obviously it's a part of bodybuilding, man. And the realization now is I try to advise people at least for a long time to not do it. Like, let's learn how to actually train first. Because most guys go, oh, if you want to be a bodybuilder, you just got to take this. It's so much more than that, man.
Yeah.
Like and I think the big difference between the 70s and 80s and now is back then it was a training culture. Like you trained hard, you trained twice a day. After you're done training, what'd you do? You went to the beach, you laid on the beach, which is meditation in itself. You recovered, you connected with the earth. Now it's a drug-based culture. So people think rather than having to train harder, I just take more drugs. And that's what's the difference in the physique now. It's like people are so attached to the dose and you know, like, well,
they think the drugs do everything, and they don't really do much at all, really. Like, when you really look at it, I think the biggest favor the world did to Mark and I was just keeping us off of steroids and away from them until we were like in our, you know, late 20s and early 30s and stuff, because just being that young and diving into it, it would have been detrimental to both of us. And so, like, looking back on it, I go like, I'm glad I didn't try it when I was young, you know?
Yeah.
Because I didn't know enough about it.
Yeah, I was very lucky, man, like I said, to be exposed to some bright people who, one, got me good things that were, you know, not
real,
not crap. And I didn't need a lot. As soon as I touched it, I responded. So I didn't attach to like, oh, I need to take ridiculous amounts of everything.
I think that's what a lot of people, that's a big mistake a lot of people make too, is just dumping a bunch of stuff on, you know, into your system and not knowing how much you need. The amount
of toxins are in there, like the heavy metals, people are killing themselves, man. And it's unfortunate. And I think it's killing bodybuilding. And I wish the government would at least, I don't know, legalize it, but allow people like, hey man, if you're going to do it, go to your doctor, let your doctor control this stuff. Because ultimately, man, like the stuff coming from China is just killing people, literally.
And it's really difficult. We talk about this all the time. I wish the process was actually easier to get your stuff prescribed and stuff like that, but it's not as easy as it should be, but there are some people out there trying to make it easier. So
and your blood work done is kind of an inconvenience.
Yeah,
it costs money, and it's kind of a pain in the ass.
Yeah, completely.
And then try to find somebody that knows how to even read it is a whole other.
And I love that you brought that up, man, because most doctors are going, "Oh, I just need testosterone." You don't fucking just need testosterone. It's all a cascade, man. It's all the HPA axis is influencing all these different hormones. Your luteinizing hormone, your follicle stimulating hormone, your DHEA. All these things are such massive components that just taking more testosterone is not going to get you the results you're after.
You're one of the smarter bodybuilders out there, in my opinion. You have a lot of information. Where are you pulling a lot of your information from? What are your sort of go-to spots for information?
Man, I'm, like you guys, man, I'm blessed to have a podcast where I get to literally call the smartest people in the world and ask them all the questions that I'm thinking about. So that's where what I do now.
Yeah.
Prior to that, man, like I said, I've got a university degree in the area of science and kinesiology and how the body moves, and a lot of exercise physiology. Just being a student of it, man. I take as many courses as I can, I read as many books as I can. I'm always trying to kind of decipher through and find the best information out there, because we know there's a lot of bullshit. There's a lot of people out there, especially in the fitness industry. The fitness industry, I always say, is 30 years behind everybody else. So that was maybe the greatest thing I ever did, was look outside the fitness industry for advice, looking into professional athletics, professional trainers, Olympic trainers, the best researchers, finding those people, because those are the guys who, if they have a very specific amount of knowledge that you can take and apply to your necessity, what you need.
Yeah.
All of a sudden you've maybe made the sport better, right? And that's kind of where my brain was. Is like, don't listen to other bodybuilders. Don't listen to other people in this industry. Look outside and find how you can deduce some information and apply it to what you're doing.
Do you think people can be leaner without drugs versus with them? I've seen some of the, they're drug tested, so I don't, you don't know what the hell people are doing.
Right.
But sometimes the drug tested athletes have like kind of a harder look, like,
right.
Because taking testosterone and things like that can cause some bloating and some things of that nature. So
absolutely,
for people that are listening that just want to get like lean and get in good shape, you can accomplish a lot of these things.
I'll tell you what my opinion on that is. That's a great question too. I understand your question now. I think I advise every single person who wants to compete natural first, because as we just spoke about, what do bodybuilders do to get in shape? Most bodybuilders don't want to train. They don't want to diet. They just take more shit.
Yeah.
Like, I'm going to take clenbuterol, I'm going to take ephedrine, I'm going to take those other things. They're drug-based culture, rather than like, hey man, I'm just going to fucking diet. I'm just going to do some hard cardio. I'm actually going to do some hard leg workouts to burn some fat. Man, it's unfortunate, but that's the reality. You guys know that. Like, a lot of times, that's why I respect natural athletes so much. Is like, these guys are putting in the work, man. Mm. Like, it's hard, man. It's hard to get in shape naturally. You're gonna suffer. So I suggest everybody do that at least once in their life, and like learn how to diet, learn how to
gain
suffer.
a couple pounds of muscle is fucking brutal.
Yeah,
it really is.
It
takes a lot of dedication, and that's where the 6 meals a day and the rest and the sleep and recovery and everything's going to be. I mean, it's always important, but it's going to even be that much more important.
Yeah, and the inflammatory factor is obviously very different, and the growth hormones adds just a whole different dimension that people aren't aware of, is making people insulin resistant and making them look bigger than they are. So everybody goes, oh man, I screwed up my last week before the contest. I lost 15 pounds in the last 3 days. Well, no, you didn't screw up. You just actually lost the water that you were holding. So that's the problem. Most people, it's not actually dense muscle, right? It's just all this hyperemia from insulin and growth hormone and stuff. And I screwed up my last week.
You think people put way too much faith in the idea of the drugs? Because like I'm saying, like, a lot of people will look at somebody and they'll say like, oh, that guy, if I just took steroids all day and did this and that, like, I'd look like that too. Right. But like, I actually have done that. Like, I've actually had points in my life where I took a lot of steroids and trained like crazy, and like, I didn't look like those guys. You know what I mean? So it's like, I think that a lot of people it was like after I did bigger, stronger, faster, and I was like, oh, it's okay to try to do this, and took a bunch of stuff and nothing really great happened.
Dude, I felt that way about growth hormone. I
just got injured.
I didn't do it until I was pro, and I was expecting like, oh, it's just going to take me to this next level.
That's what I was expecting.
Especially about 10 years ago or so, people were talking about it like being such a crazy thing, and I've used it before myself, and all I got was joint pain. Right. My hands got numb and my shit hurt. And
so
then
I got my
like,
bench
it's
press
fake or
back
whatever.
up to like
never worked well
455 raw, and then I blew out my shoulder and my tricep. So it wasn't worth it. And then not to give like some scary tale of like, oh, don't do it, you'll get hurt or anything. But it's just the plain truth of it wasn't what it was sold to me as. Right. That it was going to be like this awesome, thing. I get on steroids, all of a sudden now I'm ripped and now I'm in great shape. It is so hard to get lean and in great shape with the amount of dieting I'm doing that there's no drug in the world that could even match what I'm trying to do right now.
I love this conversation too, because people need to realize, one, steroids aren't the solution to everything. But that being said, they are, I think, a massive tool.
Fantastic.
For especially for men over 35.
On the flip side.
Yeah, every man should, I really believe, should be living a great life. Not just living. Like, you should be living a healthy, vigorous, rigorous life.
Write this down,
fucking
Smokey.
Awesome. Right, where you feel awesome, right? I don't want to live to 100 and feel like shit and have no sex drive. Like, I want to live to whatever, and every one of those years is excellent, and I feel like $1 million.
A boner every day.
Yeah, I think it's an awesome tool. But people shouldn't be afraid of it, nor should they think it's the holy grail that's going to get you everywhere you want to go. At the end of the day, like anything, there's no shortcuts, man.
And I think that's true with like our diet too. Like we want to, like I'm on this ketogenic diet and it's working great for me, but like that doesn't mean it's going to fit everybody, and doesn't mean it's going to be the answer for everything in my life. Like, I still have pain and inflammation in my body. We haven't completely gotten rid of everything yet. So it's we keep going until we find.
And I talk about this all the time, is people attached to one particular diet. But man, I'm a vegan, or I do if it fits your macros, or keto. Like, man, like it may work for you for a short period of time, and you may have to change it. So you just got to watch. You have to observe.
I'm a person that eats food, is what I am now.
Yeah.
Like, that's what I look at it as.
And normally you're not doing
keto.
the same thing forever, right?
Dude, I love keto. It makes my brain feel great, but definitively my performance goes to shit and I get fat every single time. Maybe my ratios aren't right. You could argue whatever it is, but that's just my observation. I feel mentally on point. I feel amazing, but I can't train. My performance goes to shit. No matter what my ketone levels are, if I'm supplementing.
Let's talk a little bit about diet. Do you have to? Do you count how many carbs you eat? Do you count how many calories you eat? Do you count anything?
Man, right now I'm not counting anything.
You just did way too much of that.
I did way too much of that, man. I attach now to eating less often, but I'm not really training that much now. So
that's the breakfast I served you this morning.
Yeah, exactly. He's like, fast, motherfucker.
Yeah.
I'm like, okay, Mark, I will.
You're like, hey, you want to meet for breakfast? Nope.
Nope, you're fasting. Man. Mark's writing my diet now.
That's my script. No food. And a pat on the back.
Yeah.
Send you on your way.
Smack me on the
Don't
ass.
worry, it'll be better for you.